Greetings, ghouls and ghoulettes, and welcome to my channel. My name is Abwon, and I will be your host for this evening. Happy Halloween. If you're not watching this on Halloween, shame on you. And speaking of Halloween, I have a Halloween review for the #1 movie in America right now. You should check that out on my channel as well. Anyway, it's about to be winter time. Kids are going to be trick-or-treating today. People are going to be telling ghost stories, going outside dressed up as all types of entities. So I figured this is my perfect opportunity to give you a story that I only share with a few people. You know, now movies are coming out based on true stories. And a movie that came out a few years ago was the Ouija movie. Based on a Ouija board that you can use to conjure up, you know, deities and evil spirits, paranormal entities, etc., etc. Ghosts, you can talk to ghosts. They don't sell Ouija boards anymore, and if they do, you gotta get it from like a certain somewhere or a certain somebody. So, with that being said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, or this is your first time coming here, you might want to subscribe. So a few years ago, I was at a job in my past life. I was at my place of employment, and a customer walked in. It was a younger lady. She was like 12 years old. It was like a 12-year-old Caucasian girl. And she brought in a Ouija board. Now back then, Ouija boards, you could buy them from like FAO Schwartz, Toys R Us, things like that, back when toy stores were around. And everybody was like, I don't want that, you know, I'm not trying to deal with that. But me, being somebody that believes in ghosts, I said, why not? I'm gonna test it out, you know, see what the fuss about. Let's see what the hoorah is about. So I told a handful of friends, maybe like 5 or 6 people. You know, one of my kind friends, my man Dennis, shout out to him. I hope he's watching this video. I'm gonna tag him in it anyway. He said we could do it at his house. So I chose my group of friends. We went to his house one random night, and it was around maybe midnight. Now the #1 rule is to not play between the hours of 3 and 4, because that's the devil's hour. If you don't believe in that, then don't worry about it. But if you do, don't play between 3 and 4. So we went around 1 a.m., noon to 1 a.m. So it's me, we're at this Ouija board. It's me, and I'm gonna say maybe like 3 or 4 of my friends. One of them is an ex-friend, like I don't even talk to him anymore. And you know, we had the little, excuse me. The first thing I noticed about the totem was that you physically can't push the totem into the board. Everybody says, oh, are you moving the totem? Are you moving it? Are you moving it? You physically can't do it. Well, back then, it was a small piece, it was like a triangle shape, and it had a pointer on the bottom. And the pointer was, it was heavier than the rest of it, but not too heavy. So if you physically pushed the totem, it would just topple over into the board. Like you would know if somebody's literally pushing it. So you can't push it. You literally have to just put 2 fingers on each hand on the totem, or if you have multiple people there, you know what? Each person puts 2 fingers on there, and then you ask the spirit a question, and then it guides you. So it also tells you do not play with skeptics. So if they don't believe in spirits, they don't believe in God, Satan, anything like that, if you're just a closed-minded human being, you don't want to play with them. So the first friend was like, I'm not doing it. So he sat out, he started watching TV. Mind you, when we played, all the lights were off, we had candles, such as this. The TV was off. Some people were playing video games in the back room, but that was like way far. We were in the kitchen. That was like way far from the kitchen, so they were doing their thing back there. So we do this little thing. We got on there, you know, and then I think you ask a couple questions. Are there any spirits in the room? Something of the sort. So we did. We waited a little bit. Nothing happened. We kept asking. I wasn't going anywhere. I said I'm gonna give it about another hour because I know something's about to happen. So then all of a sudden it moved a little bit. The totem moved a little bit. My homeboy freaked out. Chill. Who's moving this? Who's moving this? Wasn't me. My fingers were there the whole time. Nobody else was moving it. So he decided to walk away. It's me and like 2 other people at this point. All of a sudden, the microwave door opened. The lights started blinking. The time on the clock started going crazy. The TV screen started making all of this static noise, all of this feedback. It was just going nuts. The guys that were playing PlayStation in the back room, they said it was giving them a whole bunch of flickering nonsense. It was getting feedback. It was crazy. I knew something was in that room with us. So then we asked it again, is there anybody in this room? Is there a spirit in this room? When I tell you, that totem like immediately glided to yes, like immediately. We already knew what it was. We were still there though. We were still there, and I was fully invested. So it moved over to yes. We asked it like what its name was. I can't remember the name. Let's just go with Susan for right now. So it spelled out Susan. Boom. These guys at this point, they're fully invested too. The other guys that weren't fully invested, they sitting there acting like nothing's going on, like they don't see what's happening here. So you ask it yes or no questions, but you do not antagonize it, right? Obviously, you don't want to play with demons, so we're just asking regular questions like how long you've lived here, how old are you, you know, where did you die, blah, blah, blah. This spirit told us that her and her husband died in that particular house. Okay, cool, you know, it is what it is. Put that, just put that in the back of your mind for right now. So after that, we asked it if it knew any of us. And it went back to yes. And then we asked, who do you know about? And who do you think it knew about? Of all people, me. So I asked it questions. It knew like what car I drove. I drove a Honda Civic, like an 89 Honda Civic at the time. It knew exactly the year, exactly what model. It knew my mother's maiden name. I'm not going to tell you that. It knew my mother's maiden name. It knew my last name, which is a really difficult last name to spell. Mind you, it's spelling everything out. It knew my last name, and then it knew the name of my best friend that passed away in the year that he died, which is crazy. The year that he was born, the year that he died. Knew his first name, knew his last name. When I tell you, this spirit probably found my social security number and just Google searched me because it knew everything about me. So at this point, I'm sitting here like, this is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy. But the spirit told us that it was a good spirit. It wasn't an evil spirit. However, I already know what it is. I watch enough horror movies to know I don't really believe that. So we were just about done with this game. You know, it is what it is. And you have to ask the spirit something, you know, is it all right if we stop talking to you? Something like that to disengage the contact. You can't just be like, well, game's over, and just throw it. You know what I mean? At that point, you might be possessed. So the spirit was all right. Susan was okay with us, you know, disengaging contact. We stopped. The whole experience was maybe like 40 minutes. It wasn't long at all, but it felt long. And when I tell you, we were freezing, like the hairs on my arm were like crazy. It was nuts. It was nuts. But I wasn't cold, like temperature cold. I was cold, like I felt cold inside my body. I just didn't feel cold like I was standing in a snowstorm. It's just weird. I can't really explain it. So anyway, all of that's over, right? My homeboy Dennis is like, yo, that is nuts, blah, 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 that's crazy. So he did some he did some digging on the house. Come to find out, there was a woman named Susan that lived with her husband there, and they died there years, decades ago, which is crazy. It's crazy. He Googled everything, he found everything out, blah, blah, blah. It does not end there. So, you know, I take the Ouija board back to work. You know, the customer comes back in, you know, weeks later, it is what it is, and I give her the Ouija board. I give her the Ouija board back. She doesn't want it. She's like, nah, it's yours, I'm good. Now, there's one thing about Ouija boards, the urban legend is that once you've been given a Ouija board, you can't get rid of it. So once she said she didn't want it back, at this point, I'm sitting here shook, like, uh-oh. Like, this thing is about to be following me for the rest of my life. So I took the Ouija board, put it back in the box, duct taped it, threw it in the garbage. You know what I mean? Like the dumpster, not just garbage you put like on a curb, like a dumpster where somebody comes, waste management comes, and they throw it in the truck and they go. I said, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. After I threw it in the dumpster. You know, a month after that, well, maybe like a few weeks, maybe a month after that, I come back to work. That Ouija board is literally sitting on top of the counter. All the duct tape has been removed. It's on top of the counter. So at this point, I am shook. I am shooketh to death. that particular night, I said, I'm done. I gotta get rid of it. Nobody else wants it at this point. It knew everything about me, so now they're like, yo, Damon, that's your responsibility to get rid of it. You're the one that wanted to deal with it. So I took it, duct tape it up again, nice and neat. I got out of work that night. I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I literally put that in the passenger side of my car. I drove straight up Parkway North. Well, if you're not from New Jersey, I took a highway in one certain direction, and I just drove. I drove for like an hour and a half. I just drove and drove. I had no destination in mind. I just wanted to just drive as far as I possibly could from areas that I frequently visit. I just kept going. No music. It was pitch quiet, pitch black outside. It was completely silent in my car. I just kept driving. I kept driving until I found one exit. I cannot remember the exit. I found an exit that was maybe like a quarter of a mile away, and it was a shoulder area where, you know, for disabled vehicles, and there was a whole bunch of woods on the side. So I said, you know what? I stopped the car. I looked at that Ouija board. I looked in the back of my car. I looked at the back seat, looked around the car. I went outside. Put my hazards on, I took that Ouija board, I took like 3 steps towards the woods, and I chucked it as hard as I could. I just flung it, just straight up flung it into the woods. I ran back to my car so fast, and I made sure I looked in the back seat again. Nothing was in there, obviously. And I took that first exit, that was a quarter of a mile away. I jumped right off that exit, busted a U-turn, and went right back home. Never saw that Ouija board again, ever. No stories about Susan, nothing like that. I don't know what happened to that Ouija board. I don't want to know what happened to that Ouija board. I'm just happy that I did not encounter any evil spirits. In hindsight, I probably will not ever do it again. My curiosity got the best of me, but at least I know now that Ouija board is real. It's real. Now, I know that there's people out here, I've seen videos of people doing it out in cemeteries because they want like the full experience. No, I'm not trying to experience a demon encounter in IMAX or 3D, 4D, 4K. Like, no, I'm good. That experience was enough for me. I wasn't necessarily shook when it happened, but I was just very intrigued. But I wasn't the type that was like, oh yeah, like, I'm about to start a seance now. Like, no. So what I'm going to tell you guys now, because it's Halloween, you guys want to be adventurous and take risks. You find a Ouija board, I wouldn't mess with it. You may not have the same pleasure of being able to chuck it into the woods. You might chuck it into the woods and it might come right back to you. You know what I mean? You might wake up and it'll be right there on your car seat. I don't know. But that's my Ouija board experience, y'all. Had to make sure I hit you with a nice face-to-face for Halloween. You said I got the whole get-up, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kyla Hartley, Kai Slay. Make sure you hit her up on YouTube. Check out her makeup, you know what I'm saying? She does special effects and all of that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and when you do, hit that notification bell so you do not miss any videos that I put out. You get the notification. I'm sick and tired of people asking me, yo, what you put out? You got the notification bell, man. It is what it is, man. Check my Halloween review and hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you had any other experiences like this too. We could talk. My social media links will be in the description, and I'm out of here. Be good, y'all.